Hello and welcome to your October edition of Essential Cardano360, your monthly roundup of just some of the latest news and developments from across the Cardano ecosystem. Now, before we dive in, please remember, as always, to like, subscribe and hit that bell icon to get all the latest and greatest news about Cardano from the team here at IOG. So it's been another busy month with us getting ready for the Cardano Summit event alongside lots of other exciting stuff, but we've still got some nice updates for you today. David Harding from Atala Prism joins us to share the progress the team's made this year in the world of decentralized identity and what's ahead in 2024. And we've got a special bumper download of Voltaire governance updates for you. Jack Briggs is stopping by for an update on member-based organisation Intersect, while Sam and Carlos dive into SanchoNet, the testnet for Cardano governance. Plus, Michael and Lorenzo join for an update on the new Gov tool, enabling a new governance interface for the community, plus details of how you can get involved and have your say on Cardano governance with the upcoming Cardano ballot. And we'll have a special extended interview with Rob and Josh from Conrnucopias, talking gaming, community and the metaverse, captured at NFTxLV, so make sure you stick around for that. But first up, let's check in with Mauricio Magaldi as Midnight prepares to kick off its DevNet testing period.
Hi, this is Mauricio Magaldi again. I'm the head of product for Midnight here at IOG, and I'm glad to be back in the show. Midnight's here to help app builders and organizations to reduce the burden of data governance, compliance, and keep sensitive data in the hands of the owners. So we reached DevNet. DevNet is a sandbox environment for dev developers, and registration for DevNet is now open. So you register to get a chance to get early access to this new technology, to give us feedback and have an impact on the future roadmap, to be amongst the first to test it, to start building data protecting smart contracts and dApps. Go to midnight.network, hit register, and fill out a short registration form. We encourage you to share as much as possible about your idea for what you'd like to start building with ZK technology. So follow us on Twitter and on LinkedIn for Midnight updates, and stay tuned for more.
So thanks to Mauricio for that update. And for all the latest on Midnight, make sure you're following the team on the socials and check out the latest blog. You'll find all the links below. Earlier this year, David Harding joined the IOG team to lead Atala Prism, the self-sovereign identity platform and service suite for verifiable data and digital identity. I caught up with him to see what the team's been up to. So David, welcome to Essential Cardano360. It's great to have you on the show. Now, perhaps before we start, you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey to IOG.
Well, thank you for inviting me. My name is David Harding. I'm the General Manager and CEO of the Atala Prism Tribe. I've been with IOG now for just a short 3 months, but it's been quite a journey to get here. I have over 35 years of professional experience from engineering to 25 years in executive C-level management in public and private companies, international companies as well. And I have over 20 years experience in digital identity itself. I've worked in areas such as law enforcement and government, airport security, border control, registered traveler programs for people who are crossing borders and visiting countries. Done several national ID and driver's license programs. I've worked a lot in enterprise and single sign-on, also fintech, healthcare, and even physical and logical access control. So it feels like my journey really led me here to be part of Atala Prism. I really love being part of this excellent tribe. I feel very privileged. It's filled with incredibly skilled and professional members. I have found IOG to be an absolutely incredible and collaborative place to work. And I was given the opportunity to really lead digital identity in IOG, and I am a digital identity, privacy, and security wonk.
So we haven't featured Atala Prism on the show for a while, but for those people who aren't familiar with it, David, can you give us a refresher on what Atala Prism is and what it intends to achieve?
Well, Atala Prism is a self-sovereign identity platform and service suite for verifiable data and digital identity. We offer core infrastructure for digital identity issuance, verification, and management. It's built on the W3C, or the World Wide Web Consortium's global specification for decentralized identity. And decentralized identity and self-sovereign identity really are very much the same thing. What Atala Prism does as a platform is it empowers users to have control over their identity, their personal information, how they present it, and then how they share or consent to share that information with others. So why do we need it? Well, In the traditional world that we've been so used to in Web 2, we don't own our digital personas. Everyone else does, in fact, whether that be our social media services that we use, big tech, banking, healthcare, even our employers with our enterprise digital personas. We don't have control over those. And because we don't have control over our identity data is used, managed, et cetera, it can be sold, it can be abused, it can be stolen. So really self-sovereign identity flips the script. It puts control back in our hands, thus the self-sovereign part of identity. As we work forward in creating a decentralized internet, identity is still at the very core of everything that we do. And operating in a trusted way within global economies, with institutions without fear of personal information being shared that isn't necessary, the fact that we can consent, the fact that we can decline to consent to share information is really important. I love the example that, you go to present your identity to get a service. You literally have to present almost everything. When you present your driver's license, when you present some sort of government issued ID, there is so much information that is collected, doesn't necessarily need to be collected. Self-sovereign identity gives us control over how much information we consent to share at any given time.
So the field of education is one area that Atala Prism has been doing a lot of work in around educational DIDs, including some work in Ethiopia. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, education really is a good use case for self-sovereign identity as a whole. And what we've done with the Ministry of Education with Ethiopia really was the first real-world implementation of the Atala Prism platform. Really what they were trying to do was modernize student registration and integrate that with the national ID system. So what Atala Prism is responsible for is issuing verifiable credentials to students once they are enrolled. Now, this is a really good example of how Atala Prism as a platform can enable an application to become identity aware. We are a provider of a digital identity service that provides self-sovereign identity capabilities. Now that we've done our part with this application, we're waiting on input and feedback so that we can move forward with expanding that program and providing even more advanced features and capabilities in future versions. But really, that's the model we're going to build on, is to be that digital identity provider, that platform that enables applications, whether they be dApps, other services, other platforms, to become digital identity aware.
So David, clearly education is one use case, but there are many others. Can you maybe give us a few more examples?
I'm a big believer that technology evolves. It doesn't create revolutions, it creates evolutions. The industries that we interact with our digital identities today are the same ones we're going to interact with tomorrow. Banking, our ability to present our identity when we travel, our interactions with social media, our healthcare, even accessing email and documents through network resources that we use at work. All those things exist. We're going to make them better. We're going to have federated identity that we can present, that we can control. Really, our digital and our physical lives have merged over the years. Our digital personas really enable so much about our physical lives. Banking is a very good example of that. We don't even think about using a bank card to make a payment, yet that bank card represents a digital persona to that financial institution. That isn't going to change. What is going to change is how that digital identity is issued, managed, and how we can be in control of it and consent to the information that is shared. That's really the power of self-sovereign identity that Atala Prism enables. You can have a secure digital identity that you can manage, present, control, and most important is your own. And that's an incredible change in digital identity and how we're going to be using it in the future. As I said before, SSI flips the script on traditional digital identity. The future is really going to be represented by bringing those older Web 2 technologies and how identity is used and managed to the Web 3 world using SSI.
So Atala Prism has been iterating its roadmap fairly consistently and steadily since it started. So David, where is Atala Prism at now and where's it going next?
The Atala Prism tribe has been working diligently on upgrading the Prism platform from 1.4 to version 2. And version 2 follows the W3C standards very closely for self-sovereign identity and the decentralized identifier workgroup standards. That is incredibly important because those standards, as defined by the W3C, are being accepted globally. So Atala Prism is going to be able to provide capabilities that meet those standards and meet those requirements. Now, the future for Atala Prism as a whole is very bright. So we are going to be working closely with Cardano community members who are building new platforms, new features, new services, new decentralized applications, and help make those products identity aware. And we're going to be adding new features that will bridge the gaps between Web 2 and Web 3. As I said, life is always an evolution, not a revolution. So we're going to be building technologies that allow for these older Web 2 technologies and the way digital ID is managed to the Web 3 world, to the decentralized world, so that we can build the bridges that cross those canyons. So those optional features, and they will be optional, include onboarding, identity verification, identity orchestration, and even more powerful authentication techniques to secure and protect personally identifiable information. As I said, I'm a bit of a privacy wonk, a security wonk. When I started reading the SSI specifications, I firmly grasped hold of those. And now with Atala Prism, we're able to deliver those features and capabilities as SSI.
And I believe that the future for Atala Prism is around open core.
Open core is absolutely part of the story of Atala Prism's future. In fact, we are already working with the Hyperledger Labs to release our agent into that community, into the open source community, and to build a strong community of contributors and consumers who can utilize Atala Prism from the open core projects.
So if people want to get involved with Atala Prism, what should they do?
As a tribe, we're eager to have others join us on this very exciting journey into self-sovereign identity. To that end, we encourage you to visit us at atalaprism.io. And also please stay tuned, because as we release our project into the open source community as part of Hyperledger Labs, we are going to be opening up new Discord channels to support not just contributors, but also consumers, and really jumpstart people's journey into building digital identity aware applications and services.
So thanks to David for joining us. And to find out more about Atala Prism, check out the links in the show notes below. It's the age of Voltaire, and the Cardano governance journey continues to accelerate. There's been lots of activity this month, and here's Addie Girouard with an update on the roadmap, Intersect, SanchoNet, the new Gov tool, and how you can lend your voice to the future of governance for Cardano.
Hi, I'm Addie Girouard. I run communications for Voltaire here at IOG. Today on Cardano360, we have a very special Voltaire segment with lots of updates. Let's dive right in. I'd like to take a minute and review the timeline for the age of Voltaire. Let's take a moment to look at the Voltaire timeline. In November 2022, IO Scotfest was held in Edinburgh. It hosted the dawning of the age of Voltaire and the publishing of SIP 1694. Come February of 2023, an initial session for SIP 1694 was hosted in Colorado, the first workshop of many to come. From Q1 through to Q3, global community workshops were held. The Cardano community hosted over 50 governance workshops across 24 countries, engaging over 1,000 individuals and entities to learn, network, and build toward an inclusive and sustainable on-chain governance system. Also in Q3 2023, SIP 1694 workshop in Edinburgh in July marked the culmination of the workshop series with a capstone event at the university, defining the minimum requirements for the first generation of moving Cardano governance forward via SIP 1694, a minimum viable on-chain governance framework. Q3 2023, launch of Intersect. July also saw the launch of Intersect, a new members-based organization for the Cardano ecosystem, tasked with ensuring its continuity and continuing development as a decentralized open source project. It's there to serve its membership and the entire Cardano community, and while it is still in its bootstrapping phase, it already has over 600 members, including individuals, companies, and organizations from across the ecosystem. Q3 2023, the launch of SanchoNet. Also in July, we saw the launch of SanchoNet. SanchoNet is a testnet that allows you to gain firsthand experience of the Voltaire on-chain governance mechanisms, providing a glimpse into the Voltaire era. It is a playground for experimenting with the features outlined in SIP 1694, and it is being built out week by week with the help of the technical community. Q4 2023, open source and membership and community committees are established. Effective committees are key to the operations of any open source project. The Open Source Committee was recently established at Intersect, committed to driving open source best practices across the member-based organization and beyond. A couple of weeks ago also saw the establishment of the Intersect Membership and Community Committee. Q4 2023, establishment of the Civics Committee. This quarter also sees the establishment of the Civics Committee. This group will be a mix of constitutional experts and members of the community with the role of helping steer and guide the ratification journey to a full final Cardano Constitution. Q4 2023, repos migrate to Intersect. Cardano's core codebase has seen contributions from some 15 companies, and Q4 will also see the start of the migration of the core Cardano GitHub repos over to Intersect for their ongoing administration and stewardship, an important next step in the evolution of its open source management. Q4 2023, Voltaire Gov Tool Beta. The Voltaire Gov Tool will enable the Cardano community to use the governance mechanisms outlined in SIP 1694 on SanchoNet and enable the ADA holders to register to try being a delegated representative, or DREP, on SanchoNet, delegated voting power to SanchoNet DREPs, and ultimately review and vote on governance actions on the testnet. It's an open source tool, so every community builder is encouraged to join up and help test, iterate, and improve its capabilities over the coming months. Grants are available from Intersect for tool builders. Q4 2023, first SanchoNet wallet integration, SIP 95. Wallet integration is also key for governance. The team at IOG has been working closely with the community on the integration of wallet standard SIP 95. This will ultimately enable ADA holders to delegate their vote to a DREP straight from their wallets. Q4 2023, SanchoNet feature rich. With the integration of wallets and the Gov tool, SanchoNet will steadily become feature rich this quarter, moving from its current CLI-only implementation. Gradually, it will become something more and more community members can start to engage with, use, and help to improve. Q4 2023, SIP 1694 Cardano ballot. And with SanchoNet feature-rich, in late Q4, the community will be asked, via Cardano ballot, how ready you feel Cardano is for on-chain governance. Think of it as a temperature check on SIP 1694 if you like. The teams from the Cardano Foundation and Intersect will share more details on this process coming soon. Community consent is central to the Voltaire journey, so this will be the first poll of community sentiment and confidence on the next generation of Cardano governance. Your feedback at this stage will be a critical component of technical decision making as we look forward into 2024, when we shift focus onto off-chain elements. Q1 through Q4 of 2024, the Chang upgrade, hard fork event, and bootstrapping. The goal is, within community consent, to implement SIP 1694 on-chain via a hard fork combinator during the first half of 2024. We anticipate that from a technical perspective, with the constitutional guardrails in place, with the interim constitution in place, this will mark the start of the bootstrapping period on the road to full constitutional ratification. Q4 2023, interim constitution. Q4 will also see an increasing focus on the off-chain elements that will be required for Voltaire. Adding to the work that Intersect is doing with committees and working groups, there will be a release of an interim constitution. An off-chain governance framework is essential to enable any on-chain governance action to take place. SIP 1694 cannot be implemented on-chain without some off-chain rules and guardrails to adhere to. While it will be a temporary document, it's an important one since it will serve during the initial bootstrapping period in 2024 as the initial set of constitutional guardrails until there is a full community-ratified constitution in place. A temporary set of rules will allow proper time for constitutional discussion without slowing down the technical cadence of Cardano. And importantly, it will provide a legitimate framework for the community to access the Treasury for community-approved projects. Q1 through Q4 2024. Consultation period for Constitution. A community temperature check is really just the prelude to an extensive consultation program on the final Constitution, which will run throughout next year. In 2024, a series of global workshops will be held to gather and assimilate community feedback on the interim Constitution, culminating in the Constitutional Convention by the end of the year, and ultimately a final ratification vote to move from the interim Constitution to a final Constitution, coming out of the Constitutional Convention for the Cardano community to approve. Q4 2024, there will be a Constitutional Convention. Q4 2024, there will be a vote on the Constitution. There are 3 pillars for Voltaire and what defines good governance. Today, I'd like to start with institutions, and specifically Intersect. I'm joined by Jack. It's so good to have you, Jack. Could you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Addie. Yeah, I'm Jack Briggs. I'm part of the bootstrapping team at IOG, getting the Cardano member-based organization, otherwise known as Intersect, off the ground.
I know you had an exciting time in NFTxLV recently in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great to meet loads of members and builders, members of Intersect already, but more importantly, the projects that were building really cool NFT stuff. So yeah, it was great.
Intersect is a key institution for the Voltaire age. And I know that there's been a lot of thought put into the foundations for institution and what it will bring to the ecosystem at large. Jack, could you share a little bit about what the pillars of Intersect are with the community?
Yes, absolutely. The 5 pillars to Intersect are sort of the critical underpinning for how Intersect is going to deliver what it promised to deliver. So the first pillar is support the community to develop the ecosystem. And it's largely focused on the developer community, building out the code base and working on that. And then additionally, it'll be through networking events, member opportunities, collaboration, and the idea of an annual sort of developer conference / meetup later in 2024. The second pillar is administrating and championing Cardano's on-chain governance, as described in SIP 1694. How can Intersect develop the tools and materials and processes to drive better outcomes on-chain? And then thirdly, we have the facilitation of the continuity of Cardano, and that's the here and now. That's the today, what does it take to maintain and develop Cardano at the moment? And then we have a sort of large piece, which is quite exciting. That's orchestrating the delivery of a future vision for Cardano. And a future vision involves not just members talking about what that future vision is and what the technology should be, but actually building and developing that technology as members collectively. And lastly, coordinating the open source development of Cardano's core technologies. There are going to be 25 or so repos coming over to Intersect later this year. And then on top of that, other open source projects.
Those are really thought-provoking pillars, Jack. Thank you for sharing them. I know since the beginning of Intersect, a lot of people have joined and several committees have been stood up. Could you give us an update on what's going on with the committees?
Yeah, absolutely. We've stood up 4 committees this year already. Those committees are made up of members that have previously expressed an interest in joining them. And I'll quickly run through the 4 that we've got. So we've got open source. They've sat already about 5 or 6 times, and they've already agreed on objectives and principles with how Cardano's open source approach will develop and enhance over the coming years. The Technical Steering Committee has also sat, and that is a committee, the TSC, that's a committee that is going to be tasked with ensuring that Cardano's governance is based upon sound technical awareness and best practice. And then we have the Membership and Community Committee, a bit more inward looking. That's focusing on membership tiers, pricing, benefits overall, essentially for members to derive the most value from Intersect. And then lastly, the Cardano Civics Committee, that will be focused on looking at all of the off-chain processes and materials and support to drive those outcomes on-chain, to drive those more effective outcomes. And then we have the opportunity for a lot more committees, of course. Members can propose committees, especially into 2024. We imagine there'll be many more. And then we have working groups, which are quite exciting because they typically roll up into a committee and they might be bound by time or a specific goal. And what's most interesting about the working groups is that non-members of Intersect can join them. And you can be even outside of Cardano and blockchain as a whole. So there's a great opportunity for a broad range of perspectives to feed their way into Intersect and then, of course, Cardano more generally.
That's an incredible amount of work that's been done since its start in July. Congratulations.
Yeah, and it's really driven by the membership. We've got nearly 600, in fact, actually over 600 members now that have joined Intersect, despite only being about 9 weeks old. So it's very impressive. And as I said earlier, the Open Source Committee have already sat 6 times since then, which is a very impressive amount of energy and work that's gone into driving that forward. So I'm really optimistic. I'm super excited for the rest of this year and, of course, into 2024.
How wonderful. I know people are still interested in joining, and they're joining every day. Could you tell them where to go to get the latest information and how to become a member?
Yeah, sure. It's pretty simple. Go to intersectmbo.org and you can join today as a founding member. Various reasons why you should join, and hopefully I've given you a snippet to why you should. But check the website out and yeah, you'll find out more there.
Awesome. So great to talk with you, Jack.
Thanks very much.
As I mentioned before, there are 3 pillars that define good governance. Let's take a minute and look at democratic consent. Today we have a very special guest to talk us through the Cardano ballot. Michael?
Hi everyone, my name is Michael Maddoff. I'm a group product manager at IOG and I started the Voltaire program here. Prior to starting the Voltaire program, I was part of the Catalyst community, but originally I'm a political scientist by training, so really it's a dream come true for me to be working on the future of Cardano governance. There are 3 pillars of the Voltaire program that are needed for Cardano governance to work seamlessly. The first one is around institutions and the member-based organization called Intersect that you may have heard of. The second is the Cardano Constitution, which is a document that the community is going to come together around defining our shared values. And the third pillar is democratic consent, and that is the core of what I want to focus on today. So I want to talk to you today about a tool that we're developing in collaboration with the Cardano Foundation called Cardano Ballot. The Cardano Ballot is a hybrid on-chain, off-chain polling system that is going to be used to gauge community sentiment towards specific governance topics that are of significance to the community. For example, the upcoming SIP 1694. With this simple tool, users just log in with their wallet and sign votes. And this is a major step forward in the development of democratic consent on Cardano because it allows voters to participate at no cost and creates minimal demand on the network while simultaneously using blockchain technology to allow for independent verification of the votes that are being cast.
How would a voter or community member go about participating? Are there any requirements there?
So in order to vote, there are 2 main requirements. The first one is to have a SIP30 supported Cardano wallet staked prior to the voting. And the second is to have at least 1 Lovelace in that wallet. But those are the only requirements to be able to vote, and we think most members of the community will be able to easily meet that requirement.
Where can the community find a list of SIP30 supported wallets?
There will be a list of the SIP30 supported wallets on the Cardano Ballot website. We're going to have an FAQ that explains the voting process and the requirements, but this covers most commonly used light wallets in the community, Lace, Yoroi, Eternal, just to name a few of the major ones. So if you're using one of the major wallets, you'll be able to participate.
It's good to hear it's so well supported. Could you tell us a little bit about what the voting process would look like for the community?
Yes, the voting process from start to finish, we aim to make it as simple as possible to participate. So all you need to do is connect your wallet to the application, sign in to authenticate, and cast your vote. You'll have the option to vote yes, no, or abstain on the question at hand. And then we've also added a feature so that along with your vote, you can add a written explanation of the rationale behind your vote. So if you decide to vote no or abstain, you can explain why you object to that particular question, or if you're voting yes, you can explain why you're endorsing it. So this is really going to give the maximum amount of space for everyone in the community to express their opinion and view on a given topic.
That is really exciting. I know voting has been kind of a tumultuous topic in several governance structures across the globe recently, and questioning those results. What kind of measures are being taken to provide transparency with that?
Transparency is one of the major advantages of the Cardano ballot, and that's the reason we designed it that way. So there's going to be a third-party audit of the voting results. There is going to be an open source of the tool so that anyone can review how the votes were cast, how they were collected, and how the results were calculated. We're also creating an independent verification app so that voters can take the ballot result that they receive and verify on-chain that their vote was cast and counted.
So what happens when the vote closes?
After the vote has concluded, the results are displayed in a simple leaderboard format so that you can easily see what the vote breakdown on a given question was.
What will a Cardano ballot on SIP 1694 provide for the community at large?
In the coming months, we're going to use the Cardano ballot for a stake-weighted temperature check on the progress of SIP 1694. But there's also another interesting use case active right now, and that is voting for nominees for awards at the Cardano Summit coming up in Dubai. So there's already 2 great use cases out there for this tool, and we're looking forward to many more.
The age of Voltaire is really coming along. I can't wait to see the Cardano ballot live and in action. Thank you so much for joining us here on Cardano360.
Thanks so much for having me, Addie.
Another aspect to governance is testing it out. Today, we're going to take a special look at SanchoNet and what's happening there. I'm so excited to be joined by SanchoNet representatives today. Guys, could you introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name's Sam Leathers. I'm head of product for Core Tech at IOG, and I'm happy to be back here, Addie.
And I am Carlos, product owner for the Cardano CLI. Happy to be here as well.
So Sam, you presented the SanchoNet roadmap earlier this year. I was wondering if you could kind of just refresh everyone about what those phases look like.
Yeah, so SanchoNet really began in Edinburgh. From then, in August, we added DREPs, which allowed voters that are not SPOs to participate in SanchoNet. Then last month, we added voting support by the Constitution Committee. We also added new actions. For example, to be able to register and remove Constitution Committee members, to be able to vote on info actions, and to be able to do treasury withdrawals.
It's quite an aggressive roadmap, and you guys have certainly been working hard to get these tools and testing into the hands of the community. Carlos, could you tell us what happened with the most recent release?
So yeah, sure. With 8.5, we brought treasury withdrawals, no confidence governance actions, voting as CC members, and well, we are currently focusing on wrapping and integrating the protocol parameter updates, perhaps the most interesting governance action out there. So we are looking forward to bring it in the next node release.
I'm super excited to see the community come together and test out these governance components. And I think, Sam, you've got something special lined up for us, a demo?
Yes, we do. Carlos, why don't you go ahead?
Sure, we're going to have a demo to update the committee. So we're going to submit an action to have a new committee members there. And then we will have a treasury withdrawal where we will be voting with our new CC keys. So we have a local cluster running here, and we're going to submit a governance action to include new committee members. This will be our first 2 committee members in this cluster. So first we generate a couple of credentials for both of them, called credentials in this case. Then we create the governance action proposal, which includes both the new CC members and their terms in epochs. So now we submit the proposal in a transaction, and now it's time for the delegate representatives and the stakeholder operators to cast their votes. And once the voting period ends, we should see our new CC members ratified, as everybody voted yes. So the new CC members have been ratified, and now they need to generate a hotkey pair and issue an authorization certificate for these hotkeys. This is for enhanced security. Now we submit the certificates to the chain, and from this point onwards, the CC members will be able to vote on actions that require their approval. Actually, let's create a treasury withdrawal governance action that will require their votes. To make it easier to demonstrate that the treasury withdrawal works, we will create a new set of keys. These will not be delegated to any stake pool, those will not be receiving rewards. So when the governance action is enacted, the only balance in the rewards account should be the amount withdrawn from the treasury. So first we create the proposal, and we want to withdraw 2,249 tokens, or about 1% of the current treasury in this cluster. We submit the proposal in a transaction, and now the reps and CC members need to cast their votes. Note that CC members need to vote using their hotkeys. Everybody voted yes, and when the action is enacted, we see that there is the 2,249 ADA in the rewards account of the target address. And this is it for the demo. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for bringing that for us today. Carlos, looking at the future, you touched on briefly what's coming up next. What are you most excited about?
I think protocol parameter updates will be a lot of fun for the community. There is where really they take the protocol and the network in their own hands. That will be a lot of fun.
And Sam, what are you most excited about with SanchoNet?
I'm super excited to get people involved that aren't just on the CLI. We have wallet integration starting to happen. We have the governance tool, and we're looking forward to lots of community tooling coming on board as well. So see you on SanchoNet.
I can't wait. It's been wonderful to have you both here with me today. Could you tell the viewers where they could get more involved?
Yes, go to sancho.network. We have all the documentation there for how to use all the actions and how to vote. And we have links to the Discord so you can get involved with the community as well.
Great. So wonderful to see you both on Cardano360. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you, Addie. Appreciate it.
So we've talked about the Cardano ballot, and we've talked about SanchoNet, the playground for governance. Moving on, we're going to talk about what tools are necessary to support the community's engagement with governance. Let's take a look at GovTool.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lorenzo, Product Design Lead at Voltaire. It's really great to be here at Cardano360.
It's so great to have you with us here today, Lorenzo. Could you tell us a little bit about what you're working on?
So in our team, we are working on what we call the Voltaire GovTool. And the GovTool is one of the first apps that will be available to support the governance described in 1694.
That sounds like a very important thing to have. What are your thoughts?
As we progress towards the age of Voltaire, it's important for governance to have participation of the community. So tools such the GovTool are going to be key to allow many members of the community to experience governance. And in particular, the GovTool very soon it will allow users to test the features available in SanchoNet. So it's really exciting.
Fantastic. So what are some of the actions you can take on GovTool?
In the current implementation, GovTool will allow users to register as DREPs, to delegate to DREPs, and also as described in the SIP, to delegate to the both DREPs. And it will allow users also to understand more about governance, review governance actions, and vote on existing governance actions.
That sounds really interesting. Can you tell me what's your favorite part about GovTool?
The most interesting part about GovTool, I think, is in overall, SIP 1694, it's exciting but very, very technical. And GovTool, as one of the first tools, will allow many more people in the community to understand and experience governance. So it's exciting to see that taking shape and to soon give that to the community to test.
What a wonderful thing to provide for them. I understand that you have an exciting demo for us to see to kind of get a little bit of a sneak peek about what GovTool looks like and some of its capabilities.
Yeah, so this is the first landing page of the Voltaire GovTool. As mentioned, the Voltaire GovTool, other than allowing people and users to perform key actions related to governance, it will provide context about governance itself. And it will provide information about how to use their voting power, and also allowing them to connect their wallet to actually use their voting power, information on how to register as a DREP and what does that mean. And immediately, without even connecting their wallet, they will be able to see governance actions. And directly from here, they can keep track of which governance actions are currently on chain. and they can see the votes that are currently being submitted. And then if they want to participate, they will be able to connect their SIP95 compatible wallet, and then they will start to action. So they will be able to submit a delegation to a DREP, or they will be able to delegate their voting power to both DREPs, so the no confidence and the abstain, or they can also register as DREP. And even more, once they register as DREPs and they sign their transaction with their wallet, so they will be able to send the transaction with their wallet, and they become a DREP. Once they become a DREP, they will be able to vote on governance actions themselves, yes, no, or abstain, or they will also be able to provide more context and submit their vote. And then once the vote is submitted, they're also able to review the vote that they have submitted and also change their vote. And again, as mentioned, these will be soon available to be tested through SanchoNet. So users will be able to see actual governance action being submitted on SanchoNet here, and their delegation, registration, and voting will be checkable on-chain on the testnet.
Wow, that was a really incredible tool. I can imagine there's many community members right now who are excited to use that. I know I certainly am. So as you look at GovTool, can you tell us a little bit about what the future looks like for it?
So GovTool is part and will be part of an open source system of tools that will be owned by the community and managed by the community through Intersect. So in the short future, we will be able to grow with the community GovTool itself. And even right now, community can access grants available through Intersect to expand to new pillars. One of these is called the Proposal Discussion Forum, which will allow users to work through the off-chain part of this process, so submit proposals, and then this proposal will become the on-chain actions.
That was a lot of really great information, and I'm super excited to see these developments. Where can the community find out the latest and follow along about GovTool?
We do share information about GovTool on the different Intersect channels and Discord channels and on the Intersect website. So I do encourage everyone to join Intersect to get the latest.
Lorenzo, thank you so much for joining Cardano360. It was really wonderful to see all that you're working on and have you here with us.
Thank you for having me, Addie.
It's been a wonderful time talking with you today about the happenings of Voltaire. Look forward to seeing you next time.
So if you want to help build out the mechanisms enabling on and off-chain governance for Cardano, get involved via the links below. Whether you're a SPO or an aspiring DREP, deeply technical or less so, SanchoNet continues to evolve every week, so take a look and see how you can contribute. A special shout out to two members of the community who've picked up shovels recently. Mike Hornan of Able Stake Pool has created a bunch of useful videos to support builders and budding builders on SanchoNet, including how to set up a node and use the CLI. So if you want to get involved there, make sure you check out the links below. Also, a shout out to the team behind Palace, a native Rust implementation of Ouroboros and Cardano modules. It's an open source effort with a number of contributors, including Santiago Carmuega of TX Pipe fame. Now, Palace is currently working on SanchoNet compatibility for their libraries, meaning that you'll soon be able to interact with SIP 1694 governance primitives using the Rust language. We'll get them on the show soon to tell us more. And if you want to get directly involved in an Intersect committee or set up a working group to help contribute to the ongoing governance efforts for Cardano, make sure you check out the form linked below. Now, talking of contributions to Cardano, the community got together recently in fabulous Las Vegas in September for the NFTxLV event. The IOG team was there with our cameras, so let's take a look at what went down.
So welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, where we're here at the NFTxLV event with the Cardano Foundation, the Intersect member-based organization, Reflect, World Mobile, Lace Wallet, and many, many more. We're here celebrating the creativity of all the builders on Cardano, and particularly the creativity of the NFT community here in Las Vegas.
The event's been so fantastic. Everybody's been having a great time. Everywhere you look, there's connections forming and people celebrating one another. I'm blown away. Every time we see these community events happen, I'm blown away.
So our NFT, the EarthNode NFT, is effectively the layer which determines ownership and operation of our Earth nodes. Now, an Earth node is the validator node that sits on the World Mobile Network and effectively is the brain of the entire World Mobile Network. So Earth nodes arguably have the most important task because they are processing all of the telecommunications data that's running through the network, all of the settlement data. They're responsible for determining how the rewards get distributed across all of the various participants in the sharing economy. They're fueling the disruption of telecoms. It's a really exciting prospect.
Project Noom is all about music distribution, bringing royalties on-chain for musicians, artists, fans. So what makes the Cardano community so special? I think it's the camaraderie of the community. Everybody is willing to help out everybody else. So like at Noom, we do a lot of open source stuff. People come by the booth, even if they're not interested in what we're doing, they can use a lot of our tools and utilities to help their own project. That community of sharing is very pervasive on Cardano.
When I first came into the ecosystem, there was a small little joke that there was probably 3 or 7 women in the ecosystem. And I was actually inspired by a Twitter space on the Ethereum side that had over 100 women in the space talking about crypto. And it was rather the opposite of everything that social media was showing to me, that women were slow to crypto, women were slow to technology, and it was quite an insult at the time. So I wanted to prove otherwise, that there was a space for women in the ecosystem, and at the same time giving an opportunity for men to see and hear the perspectives from the other side. If you break it down to the basics, it's understood by everyone, and I think it's a fair game to have both genders in the ecosystem.
Sure, my name is Mick Blackwell. I'm the founder for Blitz TCG, a trading card game on Ergo, Cardano, and the Nervos blockchains. So all 3 of these blockchains, the reason I support them and I advocate for them and I come to conferences like this is because I very much agree with their strategy, right? Build first, build for the people that need the technology. Cardano, for example, right, they're not just working with developed countries, they're working with developing countries, right? They don't just care about if you have money, they care about solving the problems that can be solved with the blockchain itself, which everyone seems to have forgotten about that, right? Like, what was the point? Like, why do we make these, now there's what, like 200-300 blockchains? What do they all even do, man? Like, what problems are they solving? You know, anyways, I like that Cardano, it always seems like whenever you hear about Cardano, it's almost always in relation to a problem that they're solving. And even like Zengate with Palmyra, that's both on Ergo and Cardano, they're solving the problems associated with T-Trade, right? So there's like these real tangible things that you can show people.
So some of the things being discussed here at the show have been the off-chain mechanisms, the institutions, the constitutional journey, but also the on-chain mechanisms, SIP 1694, the Gov tool, SanchoNet. All of these things will help enable and empower the Cardano community of builders and ADA holders to truly thrive in a new age of governance.
We are here today to show to the community the first implementation of the Voltaire Gov tool.
Gov tool really fulfills that third pillar of democratic consent alongside SIP 1694. It's going to enable minimum viable on-chain governance and allow for voting, allow for community participation in a much more robust and participatory way.
I'm Jack Briggs. I'm part of the bootstrapping team at IOG, helping to get Intersect off the ground. So there are 5 pillars to Intersect, and those 5 pillars are typically going to be the structure to how Intersect does what it needs to do. Essentially, it's going to be first there for its members to have member network opportunities, for events, to be able to amplify members' successes and contributions to the ecosystem. Secondly, it's going to administrate and champion Cardano's on-chain governance, as described in SIP 1694, essentially providing strong off-chain processes to drive better on-chain outcomes. Then thirdly, we have the coordination of the Cardano Vision Roadmap that will be community approved via a governance action on-chain, and members will themselves deliver that roadmap, and that's what's fantastic about Intersect, the distributed nature of it all. Then fourth, we've got the maintaining and delivering the continuity of Cardano, and that's sort of the now. How do we keep it secure and stable and all that kind of stuff? There's lots of work that happens all the time in this regard, and number 4 is going to hit that. And finally, Intersect will champion and develop Cardano's open source best practices and approach into the future, and we're already seeing that now with the open source committees doing its thing. So we've had 500 members and more join, and you can join today too as a founding member. Just head off to intersectmbo.org and sign up today.
So we've got a busy rest of the year and a very busy 2024, but coming to events like NFTxLV reminds you of the energy and the passion, the resourcefulness and the resilience that is still strong as ever within the Cardano community. So 2024 is going to be a great year indeed. Conrnucopias, the open world game developed by Josh Jones and Rob Gregg, co-founders and co-CEOs, were at NFTxLV, and we had a chance to sit down and talk about the game, what's on the horizon, and how people can get involved.
Hi, so I'm Rudi, Community Manager for Lace.
Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. I just wanted to know a bit more about you and your project.
Sure. Well, I'm Josh, co-CEO. This is Rob Gregg, co-CEO, and we're working on Conrnucopias game, which is an MMORPG set in a post-apocalyptic Earth. Humanity has ascended into the clouds through various domes, which we use those domes to curate new and innovative gaming experiences. So one of those might be Toledo Valley Raceway, where you can go race. That's what a lot of people are seeing right now, which is also very soon going to be in public testing. But we've also got a land called Solace, which is looks like Colorado. Mountains, beautiful aspen trees, rivers. You'll be able to pick a land plot and build up your land, engage in commerce, adventure, run around. It's 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers, so it's absolutely huge. It takes about 40 minutes, I think, to walk all the way across on the X and Y axis. Yeah, so it's a large piece of inside the dome that you can explore. But yeah, there's just so many. We're going to eventually have custom domes where you can do PvP battles and all sorts of things. So we're really very early stage right now, but it's exciting to see that what we're building is being appreciated by the community. It's been an amazing event so far. People absolutely love the game. We got a lot of really good feedback.
Our booth, we had 4 65-inch screens, all multiplayer. We had three forms of the game. We had the racing game there. We had Toledo Valley, which is a puzzle game where you run around, find holocaches, do all kinds of escape rooms and jump in. And then we had the mining. So mining and the racing is brand new over the last few weeks, but the actual Toledo Valley running around, that's been open to our small test group at the moment. So about 300 people that have been testing it. We're really early alpha, early access. We've built a launcher to go along with that, so we can introduce more and more people into testing in a really nice controlled way as we scale up the servers. So the next phase now will be to introduce the racing to the testers as well. So the community is been involved almost from day one and over the last few months now. So hopefully by Christmas we may have about 1,000 people testing the game, which is invaluable for us because they all have different hardware and all different types of game styles.
Come across different types of troubleshooting experience with the hardware as well, isn't it?
The community have probably been testing with, I think, maybe about 150 different types of graphics cards, which is amazing because we only have a team of 33. So we can't test on all these different hardware. So that has enabled us to create a mode for high graphics and medium and low settings and ultra. So the community has been absolutely brilliant.
That's great. That's great to hear. How do you pick the testers, by the way?
Group A was for our OG members.
Okay.
So people that have been part of our community for a few years, and also that have earned the roles over the years, because anyone can still be an OG by being positive and doing certain rules. And now we've opened it up to our Mythic land holders, so those that have the NFTs but of type Mythic. And then we will open that up to legendary and rare and so on. So we've got a gradual opening and a larger increase of testers as we scale out our system. So it's nicely controlled for us, and it's a great experience for both of us.
The quality of the game as well, it's fantastic, the graphics and everything you guys done.
Really, with the off-the-shelf assets and with what you can buy maps, you can buy all, you can buy interaction systems, there's so many just plugins that you can utilize. You can put something together in a month that makes it look like you built a game, but it's utilizing pre-built animations, it's utilizing somebody else's art and map. And what we've seen is, there's no AAA game or there's no successful game that's been built with just using store-bought assets. So, we're looking at, people want something new and innovative. Otherwise, if it's just the same old stuff or just assets that other people are using, there's not anything really inspiring about that. And we definitely want to have and cultivate a creative, innovative, and inspired community. And as we do that, and if you look at just Cardano, what's happening on Cardano, Charles, and through the way that he's communicated, he's cultivated a community that is very intelligent, that admires research, that is okay with a longer, slower approach, that doesn't need it right now. And that community, that's very similar to a lot of our values. We're bringing and cultivating innovation, creativity, inspiration, positive attitudes toward people within our community. And I think that's gonna be what enables us to really lean on our community as we grow for inspiration and what they really want to see. And so together we're building something.
And I think you pinpoint something really important there, which is echoing the values of Charles, the Cardano ecosystem, do things properly, have time for research and so on.
Yeah.
So that's great.
I think, involving the community early on is really important for us. If you look at traditional AAA games, you will not see anything for 8 to 10 years, and then they will come out with a game with no community. They will spend heavily then on marketing, attract people, but it's the first thing they've seen, and only then you will get this kind of level of testing.
Okay, so what are you doing next? What's coming, and how do you get people involved?
So coming next is opening up racing and mining to the community. So that will happen over the next few months. We're also scaling up our infrastructure now that we've automated a lot of our builds and created some of our images. So we'll be rolling those out on Amazon AWS Game Lift. So we've got the ability to scale then to millions. We're working on the same infrastructure that New World's been built on.
Solace is about 95% complete, and I was talking to one of our artists yesterday, and he said it probably we would be able to get that wrapped up, the art part of it, the look and feel of this entire 8-kilometer world to 100% in about a month, we believe. But that still we've got to get then the programming team on laying out land plots and going through some of that. And so I'm not going to quote a time on any of that, but that is in the works. But yeah, that's coming. And, that really getting people in their land and, farming or fishing, maybe there's one minimal activity in the very beginning to start testing that.
So fishing itself is a whole, we call it a mini game, but it's a whole genre within itself. And then farming is another type. Yeah. So we'll introduce these slowly within Cledo Valley, which is kind of like our test bed. And then when they're perfected and tested with the community, those will then go into Solace as well. So we've got a nice agile approach to development with a good medium and long-term vision for the project.
And then once you're in Conrnucopias, how do you want people to majorly be playing in the gaming and then in the racing and then go to the farming bit? Do you want it to be like a thing where today I fancy like doing a couple of races and later on I'm going to relax and do a bit of fishing?
Yeah, well, it really is kind of choose your own adventure, and you're developing different skill sets in the areas that you're most interested in. Rob's put together an incredible progression system. We've been iterating on it back and forth. But regarding the Web3 journey, you're bringing a friend that doesn't know Cardano or doesn't know Web3 at all. Well, the way that we're currently have it planned is that if you wanted to buy in-game assets and utilize them in the game, well, first of all, it's free to play. So he doesn't have to buy anything. But if he wanted to start buying assets, he doesn't need to go get a crypto wallet yet, necessarily. What we've got is a system where he can reserve an NFT, and maybe it's a vehicle or a land plot or whatever. Probably not a land plot, but like let's say he reserves an NFT, because most of those they're already sold out. But he reserves an NFT. It allows him to use that in the game, and that NFT is reserved. in the future he gets a message from our system saying, hey, you've accumulated $2,700 worth of in-game assets. Would you like to convert to Web3 to be able to sell some of those assets and engage in trade in a new way? And if they want to, then they convert, they pay a small fee, convert that NFT, that basically sends the NFT to their wallet, and they'd go through a quick tutorial on security and keeping things safe. We'll make it super easy and seamless, but they'll create a wallet right then and there, and then receive those NFTs and have instructions on how to go trade them.
I think that's awesome, because having that kind of user journey where later you can play, there's no kind of obligation to do anything related to Web3, just enjoy, have fun. And later on, you guys are saying, oh, hey, by the way, if you want to do this, we can offer you a path.
It's an incentive. Like, look, you've accumulated a ton of value. Instead of, here, create a Web3 wallet at the very beginning. You don't have a clue what this is, and you haven't even played our game yet. That doesn't make sense. Play our game, have fun, build up value over time, and then convert. And that makes a ton of sense.
Yes, I think even the gaming community within Conrnucopias will probably help each other onboard people into Web3 once you start playing the game. And I think that's crucial, because if you don't have that, then you put a blocker for people, isn't it, that want to.
Yeah. And we've seen that now with our Discord community. As more testers come on board, they're all welcomed into the testing area, and then, you know, they coordinate themselves together, and then they run around together and say, no, come over here, there's some over here, there's some over there, and they gently introduce them to them, and then they let them go and find the rest. So there's 160 of them to find. So.
Wow, that's really, really cool.
And currently they organize on their own, they get into the same server together, and they run around communicating in a Discord channel. But we're bringing features where they can communicate in game and make it even easier for them, because the community loves to hang out. They've cultivated friendships based around this common game that they love, which is awesome.
Is that the first step then, to join that list, to become a tester, to actually go on Discord?
The first step to getting involved with Conrnucopias, go to Conrnucopias.io. Register, set up your player account, takes 5 minutes, super user-friendly, easy. You can add your Web3 wallet or skip that. You can add double authentication or skip that. You can select whether or not you're interested in testing. I would suggest selecting that you're interested in testing, because that adds you to the group, which means you'll be in queue to be added when we're ready to open it up. So that's one of the best ways to get involved. But secondly, I'd say follow us on Twitter at Conrnucopias Game, and that's also got our link tree on there where you can find our Discord and join the community there and start meeting people.
I mean, that was one of the initial visions, is we wanted the community to help us, because we know when we scale, you know, scaling is one thing, but then being able to support the community when you've got a small team is quite hard.
Yeah.
So the OGs, we're empowering them. We've created this Wikipedia where they always refer to. It's now AI powered as well. So people can come in and the community will respond to them, answer basic questions, and then put them to the Wikipedia when they're more interested to learn more. And then finally, after all that triaging, if they still need more help, then the moderators in Discord can help them, and it'll come back to the team. So as our community grows, more and more people are becoming part of this, and it really is self-serving, and it's been an amazing success. So we're building agile, but we are preparing to scale.
We're trying to lead with quality so that we can pull Web 2 gamers in with a vision, you know, eventually, because it's not just about Web 3. It's also to us, and we're firm believers in Web3. We want to bring more people over into the Cardano ecosystem, into Web3, and we believe we can do that. And so, but you don't do that by putting together, I mean, Web2 gamers, they have a very high expectation of quality. Even billion-dollar gaming studios get massive criticisms constantly by the Web2 gamers. Yet they're still generating massive amounts of revenue. So these guys are very picky. They know what quality is. They know what they're looking for. And if you miss that mark, they're going to let you hear about it. So, you know, in our vision, we wanted to bring enough quality that we can compel that massive group in to check out what we're doing.
I love everything about Conrnucopias. I'm going to be a gamer. I'm going to register to test personally.
Well, shoot us create a player account. Shoot us a message on Twitter or wherever. And we'll get you set up.
Lovely, fantastic. Thanks, guys. All the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet. Great. Thank you.
So a big shout out to the Conrnucopias team. And if you're interested in sharing more about your project, be sure to stop by the IOG booth at the Cardano Summit, where we'll be sitting down and talking live with you, the people and projects building on Cardano. That's it for October. Whether you're attending the summit in Dubai, joining one of the many satellite events around the world, or just catching the live streams, enjoy, and we'll see you in November.